Thank you. Good evening and welcome. Oh, I didn't look at the date. Welcome to the February 7th meeting of the Select Board. I'd like to have a start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before we get started, I'd just like to welcome Jim Lehan, our newest elected member of the Norfolk Select Board. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
To have a three-member board back again. Now we can get hit by a bus, right?
There we go.
All good.
Buses are open now.
So the buses are ready to go. So we are going to start today with a public hearing on the Water Enterprises fund rates.
So, good evening. As part of the Select Board's duties, they serve as the town's water commissioners, and part of that role is to approve water rates for all users of the system. So with us tonight, we have DPW Director, Mr. Blair Crane, and the Assistant Director, Mr. Barry LaRiviere, and they will do a presentation concerning the water rates and a recommendation for the board.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. Just want to give you an overview tonight of what our system looks like and what our overview is for the entire system and what we propose for the coming year. With that, Barry and I have spent the last couple of months doing a systematic review of the system as it stands, including any future projects, where we are. We've brought the Holbrook Street well online this past year, which is a capital project that needed to be completed, which is done. And so we will go through the numbers now and give you our recommendation at the end. With that, I'll turn it over to Barry LaRiviere to walk us through the PowerPoint.
Good evening, everybody. So tonight we're just going to basically go over the water rates, kind of discuss the budget revenue and give everybody a status on that. Talk about some future projects and other regulatory compliance coming down the pipe at us. So we've been doing this presentation now since 2020. So as we went back to the beginning, the rates hadn't been increased in a very long time. So in 2020, we had a step increase that was pretty substantial. Over the last couple of years, we had minimal increases. We actually implemented the capital fee. That's been going down. So for 23, the rates went up 2% and the capital fee decreased. For 24, we're proposing currently no rate increase to the general water rates and decreasing the capital fee to $1.30 from $1.40. What that kind of looks like in a chart form. So you can see right over here, our capital improvement fees for the last few years, we're down to $1.30 per thousand. What that means in revenue would be a decrease of $5,580 in the capital improvement revenue. We've held the line with our consumer rates for 23 to 24. And then all the other service charges and everything else that was also charged through the water department is staying the same as well. What that looks like in our budget. So the goal was, basically was to have an increase in revenues so we could basically build our funds so we can basically implement water projects going on. So for FY22, the budget was 1.8 million. Water budget expenses were 1.1. Revenues were 2.2 million, so we ended up taking in $1 million. Currently for 23, budget is 1.84. We're at $636,000 in expenses, 1.2 in revenues, with a balance of 575. So you can see we've been consistently on track over the last few years. What does this mean to our retained earnings? So with the rates and the capital fees, the whole goal was to raise our retained earnings so we'd have working capital for projects, revenue shortfalls, emergency expenditures, and a lot of new regulatory requirements coming down the pipe. So as of FY22, we have roughly 2.3 million in our retained earnings, which was the goal of the initial rate increase. What are we looking at for projects? We have a whole lot of things in the works for water. We're looking at a water main replacement on Seacong Street. We're looking to fund a water rate study.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're just distracted by the fact that we didn't read the notice to open the hearing. We skipped right into the hearing and we didn't actually read the public hearing notice. So Kevin caught it. Thank you, Kevin. And we're just being distracted by that, and I apologize for that.
Okay.
Can we read it at the end, or should we read it now?
Let's read it now.
We'll read it now. I apologize to the public for that oversight, and thank you, Kevin, for catching that oversight. The Select Board, Licensing Board for the Town of Norfolk will conduct a public hearing under the provisions of Chapter 101 of the Acts of 2004, Section 7, to determine the water budget for fiscal year '24 and set prices and rates for usage of the water system. This hearing will be conducted on Tuesday, February 7th, 2023 at 7 p.m., which is now, in room 124, Town Hall, 1 Liberty Lane, Norfolk, Mass. And that's that. I apologize for being distracted, sir.
You want me to redo anything? Are we
No,
all
I
good?
think we're okay.
From the top.
You're good, Barry.
We're okay? Thank you.
All right. Excellent.
Good catch.
So we have a big project coming up that we're looking at is a Seacong Street water main replacement. So we have a culvert on Seacong Street that is failing. We have AC main pipe on that section of Seacong Street, so we think it'd be a smart decision not only to replace the culvert, but also to replace the water main at the same time. Our next one on the list would be the water rate study. So we're 6 years out or so from the original study. Blair and I have discussed it. I think it's time to have a third party come in like we did last time, kind of look at our rates, see where we compare to other people. And now that we have all these revenues and capital and debt falling off and a list of projects before us, how do we balance all that out and move forward? We have some repair and maintenance on the tanks, clear well, some just general maintenance there. We have a new lead and copper replacement requirement coming up. So now it went from, sampling in everybody's houses or the houses that we sample at in the schools for lead and copper to an inventory of any existing lead or copper lines we have in the system. And that's going to come with a whole bunch of requirements as well. One of the big things on our radar for 2025 is water meter software upgrades. Our water meter software is a little antiquated. It was great when we put it in, but as everything else, it changes over time. So we're looking at implementing a new software that would be user-friendly to homeowners, so they could actually go online and look at their water usage information. Water master plan update. Our last one was done in 2011 with Holbrook Street coming online. Increased growth in town, we think it's probably a good time to start looking at our water master plan, helping us identify any future sources, or is what we have good enough to get us by. Then we have some big ticket items in 2026 as well. Part of it's going to be looking at new source development if that comes out of the water master plan update. The lead and service replacements. So not only do we have to inventory our system to find lead, copper pipes, galvanized pipes, then we have to come up with a program to replace them all. I think we're going to be in good shape. I don't think there's a lot out there. Luckily we only have 2,700 or so services in Norfolk. We're not facing what Boston or Worcester or Springfield is facing when it comes to that. I think we'll be in pretty good shape. Then just an update on ongoing projects. As Blair mentioned, Holbrook Street well is online. It's been working well. We actually put it through the test. We had an issue with Gold Street where one of the pumps went down. It was right around Christmas. Seamless. Holbrook Street ran the whole time. It actually ran straight for a month. So we put it through its paces and realized that it was a great investment because with one well down, we had that third one to cover everything for us. We're updating our unidirectional hydrant flushing program. So that's usually in the spring and fall. You get the notice that we're going around, we're opening our hydrants and cleaning the pipes. There's been a lot added to the system since the program was last updated. And with a new well online, we have to look at different flows in different directions. So we're updating that as well. For regulatory, risk and resiliency assessment's been completed. Our emergency response plan's been completed. The PFAS regulations and sampling compliance are ongoing. So far, knock on wood, we're in great shape with our PFAS. Not an issue. A lot of the surrounding towns around us are dealing with it. Lead and copper sampling is ongoing, and then, like I mentioned, the lead and service line inventory and replacement program will be starting soon. We have to have that in and ready to go by 10/16/24. We have a little chart here, kind of tracking usage over the last few years from, the numbers are missing. 2018 to 2022. So we dropped a little bit. 2019, we had an extremely wet year. Went back up in 2020, dropped a little bit in 21. 22, pretty much the same. Can't put 23 in because we just started, so that would look really silly because we're way down here. That's all I have. So Blair and I will answer any questions, or if you need further information, we are here for that.
So just to double back, I just wanted to reiterate that for all intents and purposes, we're recommending that everything stay the same except for a reduction in the capital improvement fee from $1.34 per 1,000 gallons down to $1.30 per 1,000 gallons. That would be the only change that we'd recommend.
Excellent. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. First, I'd be interested to see what the usage is by volume. I know that when we had originally gone through the pricing of the different tiers of usage, we had made a knowledgeable decision to put a heavier increase on those who were the heaviest users, those outside of normal residential usage. Looking at this usage graph that shows the January to December is incredibly insightful because it shows that we've finally balanced off, and now we can kind of see what our trend is going to be outside of the impact of the pandemic. But if possible, I'd love to see a breakdown as to what that usage looks like by that volume number, just so we could see what that pricing impact was. The second thing was, I think we just got to take a quick victory lap for Holbrook. I mean, that was an outstanding project for a long time, and I don't think we ever really took a strong victory lap on it. So very well done, and glad to hear that it's working well. And the last one was how glad I am to hear about the PFAS. When you talk to other communities around us, Millis is putting in a $6 million treatment plant, and we'll need at least one more to be able to deal with the issues that they're running into right now. So to hear that we're in a relatively good spot is incredibly reassuring, so thank you.
Yeah, I was nervous, especially with having the airport in town,
Right.
and having an old landfill. I was a little nervous when all the numbers were coming out, and we've been holding very well, so which is good.
There was a time when we really weren't sure what the threshold was going to be. That was a moving target for a while. So we kept looking at our numbers and trying to compare not really a unknown data. And then luckily we're far below the threshold. So at this point, never say never, but
Yeah.
we're in a really good place.
Awesome. Thank you.
Excellent. That's it.
That's it.
Jim, do you have any questions?
Just one. And it's just a little out of date in my own knowledge. Is Holbrook still back up, or is it online?
Holbrook is a residual well, so it's not considered as part of.
Answered my question. Yeah, gotcha.
Excellent. And the only thing I had, that number for the software upgrade seemed
Yes.
big. And is that just what is to be expected?
Yeah, we actually talked to a couple of firms, have come in, and we started our due diligence looking at what's out there. One of the issues we have is because this current meter reading equipment we have is aging, meters are dying quicker, right? So it's costing us $11,000 to $14,000 to get a batch of meters to replace them. By the time we get that batch in, there's already another batch that's dying, right? So right now it's becoming least cost effective to maintain the system we have. There is phasing components to the software upgrades, but like with phasing, it's going to cost us more over the long run instead of just biting the bullet and paying the 1.2 up front. We still have a lot of legwork. To look at it. Unfortunately, Blair and I sit there every day. We have a lot of projects with a lot of big numbers coming down the pipe. And we've been talking with Todd and talking with Justin. It's
Okay.
And one more question, if I may.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We can never have enough wells, and we don't have enough wells. So, and again, I'm a little out of date on this, but are you still continuing to explore for new well sources?
So that's the idea. So we want to update our water master plan, right? So that'll determine with the wells we have. So Spruce Road is our oldest well. Consider that the dying star.
And it is old.
It's old. So it's starting to decline, right? We have Gold Street, which is great, Holbrook. So at some point, Spruce is going to die. Holbrook and Gold are going to be there too, and then we're still going to need that third. So as part of the water master plan, it's got to identify, the need for future water, what we're currently using, and then also we have a couple places that we've identified that could be potential new well sources.
Have you done any test wells at all?
That's a big number. I mean, new source development is like $600,000.
I know.
That's just to tip your toe in the water. So we want to be very sure where the locations we're looking at are the ones that we can go for. Don't want to waste our money.
Those discussions have been had, though, Jim. So we're not quite there yet, but we are close to it.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
A follow-up question from that, the new wells that you're considering or dreaming about are to a different aquifer, right? Because putting a new well in the same aquifer?
Actually, this one will be, so 2 of our wells are in Charles River. Spruce is in the 10 Mile River, Acushnet watershed. The one we're looking at it is probably closer to the Stop River watershed, so yes, we're spreading it out. The state wouldn't let us put another well in the Charles River. Charles River Water Association would have something to say about it. Millis is right over there, so yes, we're looking to another area to make things a little bit easier.
Thank you.
Millis, I think, has 8 wells, don't they?
Millis has a whole bunch of water. They were entertaining selling us water instead of us putting...
Twice the price.
Twice the price, yeah.
I remember.
Yep.
And at this point, we do have some options. There's some locations that look like they turn out to be decent locations. So we'll continue to check that out.
Great, thank you.
Excellent, thank you very much. And just to reiterate that first point, that for people who use water, the bill is going down, and that's an exciting thing. Even if it's slight, it is going down.
Absolutely.
So thank you for your work to make that possible.
Thank you.
All right, I don't believe that's an actionable.
We'll continue the hearing until the following select board hearing to allow for residents or anyone to provide feedback.
And Kevin, I'll provide you with the information you're looking for.
Thank you.
Yep. I'll
Thank
send
you.
it to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank you for having us.
Awesome. Do we need to close the public hearing?
No, I would continue the public hearing, just move.
Just move. All right.
I move that the board vote to continue the public hearing for the FY24 water rates to the February 21st, 2023 meeting.
Second.
I was just going to second right over you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Blair. Thanks, Barry.
And so at this time, we open up the floor for public comment. This is an opportunity for people to share their opinions about things that affect our town, limiting their comments to 3 minutes or less. If you have a public comment, please raise your hand. I do see a hand up there, Amanda.
Yes.
David.
David Rosenberg.
Hi. So
Hi.
first, I'd like to congratulate Jim Lehan on his election to the Select Board. And there are 2 things I was sort of wondering about. One is in your discussion of possible expansion of the Select Board to a 5-member board. I was wondering whether it's possible to have associate Select Board members so that there would be a 3-member board, but with some number of associates who could only vote if full members were, if there were fewer than full members present at a meeting. So I don't know if that's legally possible, but I'd like to suggest that as something that could be considered if it is possible. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that for a long time of living in Norfolk, water bills were semi-annual, and then when they were changed to quarterly bills, the explanation that was given for as the motivation of that change was that it would help people budget better by having to pay smaller bills quarterly rather than larger bills semi-annually. And my recollection is that when prior to Eversource and whoever was before them, when our power was from Boston Edison, Boston Edison used to have electric bills that were bi-monthly, and then when they changed to monthly bills, they basically offered the same rationale that it might be easier for people to budget and pay monthly, but they gave people the option that if they wanted to pay bi-monthly, they could continue doing that without any additional interest charge. It would be, the preference of users, whether they wanted to pay monthly or bi-monthly. And I'd like to suggest that the select board, in their capacity as water commissioners, consider making semi-annual water bills an option. That's the only comments I have now, and congratulations to the board. Good luck, and I will be sending an email fulfilling a promise that I made when I was campaigning for the select board position. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, David. Are there any other comments at this time? Any other hands waving furiously? Seems like we are all set with public comment. Thank you very much. And our next event is vote to approve the following road event, Norfolk Community League.
So before the board is a Norfolk Community League 5K. This event occurred last year. There's some food trucks and different events there with food vendors and a DJ. All of our public safety team vetted this proposal. There were no issues, so we're suggesting that the board vote to approve this 5K event.
Awesome. Any questions?
No, just that it was a fantastic event last year. I thought it was a great showing from the community. I was a little intimidated to run when I saw 10-year-olds finishing the thing in like 10 minutes, but I think it's going to be fun nonetheless.
I am not running.
I avoided the intimidation. I didn't run.
Yeah. Do you have any other comments or questions?
No.
That sounds fabulous. Take it away.
I move that the board vote to approve the Norfolk Community League's Community Day 5K road race on Sunday, June 11th, 2023.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next is vote to approve the use of Town Hill for the following events: Cactus and Succulent Society. See how I said that without Googling?
Nailed it.
And the Farmers Market from 2 to 8 p.m. and a whole bunch of other things.
Yes. So we made this select board meeting to try to streamline all the events that are being requested for Town Hill. Once again, all these different events have complied with our requests to fulfill these. They've reached out to Amanda and provided all the relevant documentation. So we've spoken with our public safety, and there are no concerns for these events. So we're recommending that the board approve all of these events.
I do not have any questions. Do you have any questions?
It's nice to think about summer events, that's for sure.
It surely is. Jim?
No questions. Thank you.
From the farmer's market, if you did have any questions.
We would love to hear from the people from the farmers market. Come on up and talk to us about the farmers market. What an amazing resource for our town. Come on to the comfy chairs.
All right. We're just here if you have any questions, really. Yeah. So I'm Ellery Breach. I run Al Runs on Cake.
I'm Kim Calvano. I own Fat Bottom Bees Apiary.
Awesome. So I'm going to give you the form to promote the farmers market.
We're looking to expand it.
Yeah.
You could not have said that any better.
We already have awesome vendors every week. We're working to expand and grow the event, bring in food trucks, have live music, more vendors, more local people. So we want it to be more of like the beer garden feel that you get on the hill instead of like a pass-through farmer's market.
Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds fabulous.
That's
Thank
our
you.
plan.
It sounds like a great plan, and thank you for your hard work.
And one thing that's different this year for the farmers market, they're looking to extend their hours. So this one, they'll be
Just
2
yeah.
to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So that's
This way we
great
catch
for-
that last train that comes in and
Lovely.
Yep.
Awesome.
They're phenomenal events. I thank you guys for doing this. It's wonderful time. Town Hill is
got to thank
thriving when you
Zach
do
too.
it.
Yeah.
'Cause Zach
really
is a big
Zach's
part of
baby.
it. Zach and Sarah, the
Absolutely.
Zigglers.
Absolutely.
We're the new helpers,
Yeah, we're just
worker bees.
we're
Awesome.
his worker bees. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for your work for the town, and it is an excellent opportunity and resource for our community, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
And my kids and I are hooked on your Instagram videos, by the way. The baking
awesome.
videos are amazing.
That's what I like. That's how I bring you in.
Thank you.
Are we ready for a motion?
I think we are.
I move that the board approve the use of Town Hill for the events printed on the agenda for this meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And general updates.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Well, I have
See you in the spring.
See you there.
Soon, I hope.
No.
So just two quick general updates. First, I want to just mention the fire station project. This is the first select board meeting since the town voted in approval of the fire station project. We appreciate the turnout at town meeting, at voting. Obviously, congratulate Mr. Lehan for his re-election, I guess, or election to the board. I look forward to working with him. But also, I do want to mention the incident at the senior center. Unfortunately, we had a water pipe burst over this very cold weekend. And unfortunately, the senior center will be closed for a substantial period of time. However, Karen and the team there, they have relocated to Town Hall. They are calling seniors. They're going to be working expeditiously to provide services, including the nursing services, events. And so we're working with our facilities director, Karen, to find other locations for those events. But also the senior center team is calling seniors who utilize nursing services, and we're going to provide those services here in Town Hall for the time being. So it's an unfortunate event. We're going to work expeditiously to try to get the senior center back up and running. But in the meantime, Karen and her team are working fervently to make sure we give the seniors the services that they need and require. So,
May I just add on to that? There is some misinformation out there that the town was not checking the buildings on the cold. Can you just clarify that?
No, absolutely. So I was in constant contact with our facilities director. Throughout the weekend, we had a rotating team of people checking on all town hall buildings. The last time that the senior center checked was at 11:30 p.m. Unfortunately, the way that works is when pipes freeze, you won't know about that issue until you have that defrost moment, and that occurred on Sunday, unfortunately. That's all we can say at the moment, but we were checking. We were checking all our town buildings. Our facilities team is very diligent about that.
Thank you very much. Is that it?
That's it.
Awesome. All right, so I have updates. Are you ready?
Go for it.
I have some updates. So first of all, I want to piggyback on what you said about the fire station. I'm just so proud of our town and excited for our town, and I think it's so important to have people understand that the amount of hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work that went into the intentional plans that happened for us here in Norfolk. So I'd just like to honor Kevin Champagne, Chris Baker, Aaron Hunt, Justin Yanosik, John Kent, and also from our town employees, Todd Lindmark, Aaron Kinney, Matt Hafner, Rich McCarthy, Blythe Robinson, and Justin Casanova Davis for their participation and the work that went into taking us to the next step of building a new fire station for our town. So thank you, and thank you to that committee. I wanted to just publicly say I recognize the amount of time and dedication that made that possible, so thank you. The second thing I wanted to share was I had the first-time privilege of going to the MMA, it's the Massachusetts Municipal Association annual meeting that was held at the Conference Center in Boston, and I had never gone before because I started during COVID, and so I started everything in COVID because I highly don't recommend that. But anyway, so this was my first time attending, and I just wanted to share out that for me, not having ever experienced anything like that, it was truly inspirational. It helped you, I think so often we're in the day-to-day, we're on the mill, right? We're going to work and this and this and this and this and this, and it was really quite an opportunity to sit back and come to full stop and just see all these amazing, dedicated professionals around you doing the same work that you're doing. And so it was inspirational to me. It validated so much of the work that we were doing, like our work to really understand roles in terms of select board and town administrator, so it really validated that work that we're doing. And I went to an amazing workshop, WEMO it's called, now I'm gonna probably get it wrong, Women Elected in Municipal Offices, and I went to all these amazing women who were in elected positions. Kim Driscoll spoke, actually Maura Healy spoke as a keynote in one of the parts, and it was really inspiring to me and really valuable to zoom out and say, wow, we're doing important work in the context of all this other important work. And then it was a really great opportunity to network with other people with similar problems in their towns, or to listen to the way that they had handled problems in their town. So that was super valuable. So I just wanted to share out about that. And then the last thing I wanted to share about is a little bit of a personal agenda, but we just got an email. Well, it maybe came out a little while ago because I can be a little slow on my email. But we just got an email about the retirement of Linda Balfour. And Linda Balfour has been She has worked in the town of Norfolk for over 50 years, and I had the privilege of working with her when I worked with the public schools, and she is a true champion for children, and that will be a real loss for our town, and I just wanted to acknowledge out loud that I'm sure that there are workings to celebrate her and honor her, but that is a true loss for our town, and what a remarkable career, and I feel privileged to have worked with her, so thank you. Those are my updates.
Very nice. Well done.
And then we have some warrants. I know you thought we were done, and we haven't even done.
I was ready to make a motion
I
to
saw
adjourn
it.
everything.
I saw that.
Trigger happy. I move that the board approve 6 warrants for the period January 17th, 2023 through January 31st, 2023 as printed on the agenda for this meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Need a second.
He said.
Oh, you moved? I'll second.
He moved.
I'll third if you prefer.
No, second is great. I'm used to seconding, so this is going to be a new groove for us. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And keep going.
And I also move that the board approve the meeting minutes of December 13th, 2022, January 3rd, 2023, and January 17th, 2023.
I will abstain.
He will abstain.
I was not present,
So I
so I
will
will
second.
abstain.
That's excellent. I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. And we can talk about, Kevin's been reading all the motions because we've been a two-man show.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we can talk about how we want to do that next time. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Before, may I make it?
Yes, you may. Absolutely.
Thank you. Just 2 updates. So first, I too saw that about Linda Balfour, and I predate you with Linda. I was on the school committee back in 1987 when Linda was the special ed director, and of course she became our first principal of the H. Olive Day School. She has been a dear friend, and your words are eloquent, and I can only reinforce them. She has been, I think, just admired by every parent and every student that's ever gone through that school. She's had 4 of my children and 9 of my grandchildren. She has been incredible. I will miss her dearly. She's an institution in Norfolk, so I just wanted to echo that. The other thing I thought might be helpful was Kevin can explain to you all of the plumbing system of the King Philip school system, because he was in attendance last night during that delightful conversation.
Riveting.
Absolutely riveting. That we are in the final stages. We have announced the 4 finalists for the new superintendent of schools. We had 15 candidates. We narrowed it down to 8 interviews and brought forward 4 finalists. We're now going to begin to have on-site visits, which will take place next Monday and Tuesday. They, in turn, will be back at the school the following Monday and Tuesday, and March 6th, we will be deliberating on, well, actually, we'll be doing the interviews the week before, and then we will be deliberating and making the new choice. There are 4 excellent, excellent candidates. So,
Excellent. And just for people listening, that's for the King Philip School
I
System.
thought I said that, but I may not have. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
You may have said it, and I may have missed it.
I may not have, so thank you. We can say it twice.
We'll say it
That we
twice.
can.
Excellent. Thank you for your work there. Now I think we're ready.
Move to adjourn this meeting of the Norfolk Select Board.
I can second this.
I think you can.
I think I can.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Andrew.